Because of a speeding truck, Jonathan loses the girl's contact information. When he asks her to write it again, she refuses on the spot. But after some thought, she decides to give him another chance. She pulls him into a random hotel, intending to play a game of fate. The rules are simple. They each enter a separate elevator. If they both randomly pick the same floor, they're meant to be together. With that, she tosses one of her newly bought gloves to Jonathan, and without hesitation, presses the button that will decide their destiny. Jonathan is left alone, staring at 3 rows of buttons, completely bewildered. In desperation, he just picks one. Whether by coincidence or a psychic connection, both Jonathan and the girl lock in the 23rd floor. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. Just as Jonathan's hopes are soaring, a mischievous kid barges into the elevator. Without a word, the child proceeds to press every single button for every floor. Sarah arrives first, stepping out of the elevator full of anticipation. She looks around, but sees no sign of Jonathan. A wave of disappointment washes over her, but she holds on to a sliver of hope, waiting by the elevator for what feels like an eternity. Just as a disheartened Sarah lets the elevator door close, Jonathan finally arrives from a different elevator, tragically late. Unwilling to give up, he chases her out of the hotel. Luckily, she hasn't gone far. But for Sarah, a firm believer in destiny, this series of near misses is a clear sign from the universe that they shouldn't be together. Seeing Jonathan's frustration, Sarah's heart softens. She decides to give their fleeting connection one more chance. She has Jonathan write his contact info on a $5 bill, then promptly uses it to buy gum at a corner store. If the bill ever finds its way back to her, she says, she will call him. Jonathan thinks this is crazy, realizing a single bill is a flimsy thread to hang their fate on. Sarah improvises again. She writes her name and number inside a copy of Love in the Time of Cholera and says she'll sell it to a used bookstore. If that specific book ever finds its way into his hands, it is definitive proof they are meant to be. Jonathan, however, believes in making his own luck. He invites her for cake at a dessert shop aptly named Serendipity. There, they talk and laugh, lost in their own world. But as the night ends, Jonathan asks for her number one last time. Instead, Sarah leans in for a deep, meaningful kiss, then hops into a cab, leaving Jonathan alone, not even knowing her name. 3 years fly by. They never see each other again. Jonathan is now a successful professional, engaged to a lovely woman. But the happier his life gets, the more he is haunted by Sarah's face, compulsively checking every copy of that one book. Meanwhile, Sarah's name seems to appear everywhere in his life, as if the universe is constantly reminding him of what he lost. Just as he is about to give up, fate throws him a lifeline. He finds an old receipt in the glove she gave him, with her credit card number on it. He realizes that if he doesn't find her, it will be the one regret that haunts him for the rest of his life. He rushes to the store, gets her old address from their records. But when he arrives, he finds out she moved away long ago. Across the ocean, Sarah has also moved on, with a fiancé of her own. But their relationship feels cold and detached. In these moments of loneliness, she thinks back to Jonathan and the magical connection they shared. Ultimately, she follows her heart, breaks off her engagement, and flies to New York to find him. But after 5 days of searching every place they visited, she finds no trace of him. At the Serendipity Cafe, her friend tells her to give up on fate and face reality. A heartbroken Sarah agrees to fly home. Tragically, they don't notice the change from their bill is the very $5 bill with Jonathan's number on it. And in another cruel twist, Jonathan arrives at that exact cafe just moments after they leave in a taxi. At their hotel, Sarah's friend runs into an old classmate, who turns out to be Jonathan's fiancée, but Sarah misses the encounter. Back at his wedding rehearsal, Jonathan's fiancée gives him a gift, a first edition of Love in the Time of Cholera. He habitually opens the cover, and his heart stops. There, in clear handwriting, is Sarah's name and phone number. He knows he can't go through with the wedding. He apologizes to his fiancée and leaves to find the woman he was destined for. Meanwhile, on the plane home, Sarah discovers she grabbed her friend's wallet by mistake. As she pays for headphones, she sees it. The $5 bill, with Jonathan's address and phone number written right on it. She frantically gets off the plane and rushes to the address, only to learn he is at a hotel for his wedding. She races to the hotel but arrives too late. The party is over. Devastated, she turns to leave, but a hotel employee informs her that the wedding never actually happened. The groom called it off that morning. Renewed with hope, Sarah decides to stay. She is drawn back to the ice rink, remembering she left her jacket there. At the same time, a dejected Jonathan also finds himself wandering back to that same rink. He spots a jacket on a bench. He sits in the middle of the ice, takes out the single black glove, and stares at it. As snow begins to fall, he lies down, lost in memory. Suddenly, the matching glove lands on his chest. He looks up, and there she is, the familiar figure standing in the snow, smiling at him. In that moment, he finally believes in destiny. They walk toward each other. Years of searching and near misses finally over. They formally introduce themselves for the very first time. Their long journey, guided by fate, has finally brought them together.